Hi, this is Christina Dam, and this is Liberate the podcast, where we educate, motivate, inspire, and liberate your consciousness.
Today, we have like a sort of nebulous cloud of things we want to talk about, but we don't have that much time, so we're just going to get right into it. I wanted to talk about trauma and some new, more alternative techniques for treating trauma. You have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely new techniques out there. I mean, we all know of EMDR as one of the techniques for trauma. I have a hypnosis and NLP background, so I kind of typically use eye movement integration. So it's similar, a little similar to EMDR, not sure.
But a lot of people might not know what EMDR is. Can you
So basically, it's sort of like, sounds weird, but sometimes, I guess the official therapists that use EMDR, I think they use a light, typically. Or, some people can use a finger.
I got the little beeps with the hand stimulation things when I did it.
Oh, yeah, because you've had it done. So, are you typically moving your eyes unit?
My eyes are closed, which is what's funny. So EMDR stands for eye movement desensitization reprocessing, right? So I guess the idea is that when you have trauma, it gets stuck like in your brain, literally, and it just like just on this loop. And I've experienced that. It's really not fun.
So essentially, how I see it is when we're accessing certain areas. So for instance, if you're kind of accessing if you're looking up to left or to the right, or just looking up, usually typically it's accessing your visual sensory abilities. So you're either thinking like of something in the past, if you're looking to the left, or if you're looking up to the right, you're thinking of something in the future, like you're kind of a future concept. It doesn't always go that way. So I typically say, like, if you look up, it's visual. And if you kind of see someone look side to side, it's auditory. So you're thinking of a sound and memory in the past and kind of the future conceptual. And when you look down, it's either self-talk or you're getting an emotional state. So you're kind of accessing like self-talk and your emotions and feelings and sensations. It can be tactile as well.
Wow.
So when I think of eye movement integration, when I do it, you can sort of sense like if someone's getting upset, and you can see what quadrant they're in. Like if they're visual, and then you kind of just have them look down, it kind of starts shifting the emotion, and it shifts the motion in the body as well. So it's interesting. So that's how I perceive like kind of eye movement integration. It's kind of like, and sometimes typically people look down if they're getting upset, because they're in a feeling state. So if you have someone start looking up while they're like thinking of that memory or association of, and then they start looking up and they're like, it almost is jarring because they're like, wait a minute. Like it kind of shifts their way of thinking.
No, a lot of people say EMDR, but you have an officially a different technical modality that you practice with it.
It would be like eye movement integration.
Eye movement integration.
That's how I know about it through NLP.
And it's like similar / the same, basically.
Yeah.
Right. So you got, and then what is NLP?
So NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. It's like a really big, heady name, but it's basically two linguists, Bandler and Grinder. They were linguists, and they just were wanting to model really effective practitioners, and be like, how are these certain people creating massive change? Like, what's going on? So they modeled like Virginia Satir, who was like this amazing family therapist, and also Fritz Perls, who is the father of Gestalt therapy, parts therapy, and also Milton Erickson, who's like the father of hypnosis.
And the worst. Don't know anybody.
Yeah, so all these people, so they wanted to know, like, how are these people making change? And they figured out their techniques or protocols of like change making, and kind of then showed people how to do it. So these are basically modelers, people who have seen successful people and kind of broke it down and see like, how are they creating success? So
it's amazing because the sessions, I've had 2 sessions with LANI, and you're using like at least 4 different techniques, and so and I'm like in so I'm not really like paying attention to what's happening when.
Yeah.
But it's like super cohesive. I mean, there's like a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. So it's like a combination of hypnosis, NLP, eye movement, desensitization.
Yeah, sort of eye movement integration. Yeah.
Integration.
And also self-soothing kind of PsychoSensory like techniques. So yeah, since emotion can be trapped in the body, you know, it's sort of like, you know, ways of self-soothing. So you might be feeling the emotion, but when you start doing certain techniques with your body, sort of like movements, almost like EFT and things like that, like, you know, points on your face or, you know, on your body, it basically rewires your brain. So, because when you're doing self-soothing, kind of like PsychoSensory, like touching techniques, you're essentially giving yourself doses of serotonin, which is kind of like that well-being and happiness.
Safety.
Yeah.
Safety. So, like if you're running from a tiger, you're probably not going to be, your brain is not going to be, so your brain's, you're feeling this and your brain's like, I must be safe because, you know.
Yeah, so it's sort of like tricking your brain and your body by like associating to the negative emotion, but then doing all these self-soothing techniques and kind of taking your brain away from thinking about that, you know?
I mean, you guys, it really works. Like, I wish that I knew about this, like, 19 years ago when I had my traumatic incident that, you know, prompted me to have panic attacks and things like that.
PsychoSensory techniques, you know, because you're, like, touching your body while you're, you know, while you're associating to an uncomfortable emotion, but it's also taking you out of that emotion. I mean, that's what ultimately it's supposed to do, like it's meant to do. It's like, yeah, you're associating to this uncomfortable feeling, but after you're doing all this, and I am doing hypnosis and LP, after you're disassociating and doing all these pattern interruptions, which are pattern interruptions in your brain, essentially. Like,
so amazing.
You know, so it's like, it's, you know, you might step into this, but then I'm doing all these things to get you out of that mindset or out of that feeling by doing all these other things, then your body and your mind, it's like cannot connect the two at the end. Like you might be aware of that memory and might be aware of like, oh yeah, there's an issue, or this might be a trauma, or this might be an anxiety, but then you don't feel the same about it at the end. And that's essentially what it's doing. It's like disconnecting the two.
But I know that you've shared in other episodes in the past that you've had your struggles with anxiety as well. So I'm curious,
for sure.
You know, I'm sure we don't get here because everything's like going so swimmingly, right?
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, like all the time. I still, to this day, I mean, you know, we can always find new anxieties if we want to look for them. But yeah, and I've, you know, the techniques that I've done, I've had them done for me. You know, I've had other practitioners, you know, helping me through some things out, and when I see it helping me, that's when I usually bring it in and like show others. You know, not only how to, you know, I'm also here to like, as a practitioner and helping, but I also want to empower people with these techniques. So, yeah, I mean, that's basically how I kind of view things as like, you know, if it's helped me and empowered me, and I'm just going to try to show it. Thanks, Rebekah.
Thanks, LANI. Like many thanks to you, like 1,000 times over. I owe you a lot of astrology readings too. But yeah, definitely.
Thank you for being open to the process. It's really a treat.
I was super open. I was like, fix me.
You don't need to be fixed. Rebekah.
No, and I realize that now. Don't need to be fixed. So yeah, you can find LANI here. At Liberate. Do you do sessions remotely for stuff like this?
I would be open totally to doing sessions remotely, because it's possible. Okay. Whenever I had it done, it was remote sessions for myself. So yeah, it's totally possible.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So wherever you are in the world, you can holler.
Yes.
Holler.
And you need to go to see Rebekah for amazing readings because it's good
energy
stuff.
Healing too, which also works, but sometimes when you're in a panic attack, you need some bilateral brain stimulation. Good stuff.
It's all good stuff.
Yeah.
It's all here to help you.
Yeah.
And us, I mean.
Yeah.
We always play.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. All right, well, have a good one, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Take care.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this conversation, like it, subscribe, and share it with your friends. If you want some more amazing resources on your path of liberation, head over to liberateyourself.com and sign up for our mailing list. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram at Liberate Hollywood, all one word, or Liberate Emporium, all one word. Until next time, liberate yourself.
others and see if it helps them.
Yeah.